On the Venezuela boat strike, if there were a second strike that killed wounded people, even in a first strike, were you thinking about it illegal?
Number one, I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about. So we'll look into it. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that. Not a second strike. The first strike was very lethal. It was fine.
Aboard Air Force One, somewhere between Palm Beach's sunshine and Washington's gray skies, President Donald Trump tries to fly above a political storm. Reporters zero in on the controversy shadowing his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the explosive allegation that he ordered a second strike on a Venezuelan boat to ensure no survivors. Trump's answer?
But Pete said that didn't happen.
A verbal sidestep at 30,000 feet. He said he didn't do it.
On the Venezuela boat strike, if there were a second strike that killed wounded people, even in a first strike, were you thinking about it illegal?
Number one, I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about.
But the question hanging in the cabin and in Washington isn't going away. Did a senior U.S. official really order the military to finish off a boat even after it was already hit? The Washington Post first reported that Hegseth directed American forces in September to leave no survivors during a strike on an alleged drug-running boat in the Caribbean. Hegseth has pushed back hard, calling the story wrong, the reporting inflammatory, and the mission entirely lawful. On X, Hegseth wrote that operations were lawful under both U.S. and international law, approved by the best military and civilian lawyers, and that the U.S. had every right to destroy narcoboats carrying lethal drugs. The Pentagon's top spokesperson, Sean Parnell, went even further, blasting the reporting as fabricated out of whole cloth. He said, "Fake news is the enemy of the people." But Trump's comments raised as many questions as they answered. He insisted he had no knowledge of Hegseth ordering the death of the boat's survivors, because Hegseth personally told him he did not say that. Pressed repeatedly on whether he would have approved a second strike, Trump ducked again, praising the very lethal first strike while refusing to say if he would back a follow-up attack meant to eliminate survivors.
On the Venezuela boat strike, if there were a second strike that killed wounded people, even in a first strike, were you thinking about it illegal?
Number one, I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about. So we'll look into it. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that. Not a second strike. The first strike was very lethal. It was fine. And if there were two people around, but Pete said that didn't happen.
He vowed to look into it, yet reaffirmed his great confidence in Hegseth, boasting that drug deliveries by sea were now infinitesimal thanks to these operations.
Do you have any concerns about how those boat strikes have been carried out at all?
Very little, because you can see the boats, you can see the drugs in the boats, and each boat is responsible for killing 25,000 Americans. So they're doing an amazing job.
He also claimed drugs were visible in the boats, justifying their destruction.
Coming into our country by sea is infinitesimal compared to what it was just a few months ago.
All this comes as Trump publicly warned that the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela should be considered closed in its entirety. A message that sent alarms ringing from Caracas to Capitol Hill. Trump downplayed it today, saying Venezuela is not a very friendly country, pointing to migration spikes and alleging criminals have entered the U.S. And when asked whether an airstrike on Venezuelan soil was imminent, Trump brushed it away, "Don't read anything into it." But lawmakers are reading into it. Both the House and the Senate have started inquiries into the reported second strike on the alleged drug boat that killed the survivors of an initial strike. Meanwhile, Hegseth is doubling down, defending not just the single strike, but the doctrine behind it, to stop lethal drugs, destroy narcoboats, and kill the narco-terrorists who are poisoning the American people. Every trafficker we kill is affiliated with a designated terrorist organization, he says. So tonight, the turbulence isn't limited to the airspace around Venezuela. It's in Washington, where the question remains, if the first strike was fine, what does the White House really think about the second? And with Trump promising to look into it, The future of U.S. operations in the Caribbean and America's posture toward Venezuela now hangs in a fog of denials and warnings.